Welcome back to the rematch. We're in 1958, and I just told you in the last video that there was a clause that said that the world champion can immediately, well, not immediately, 1 year after the previous match was held, if in case he lost, right? If he lost, he got the chance to play the rematch for the title, and that's how Botvinnik really made his legend even greater than it was, because now it's time for the rematch. Okay, now the rematch may mean two things. First one, we have a great comeback from the last world champion, right? Or we have a huge defense and we have somebody finally surpassing Botvinnik. So let's see. Well, the game begins obviously with game number one that I'm not going to show, but Botvinnik won that one, and this is game number two. Now I'm not gonna spend too much time covering the theory. I promise I'm gonna go into a little bit more depth in the later games. But this is just a King's Indian, quite the wild variation. But the whole thing is that again White has this dangerous passed pawn here, but while Black has enough of a presence here on the queen side that he's gonna argue that his bishop is stronger than White's bishop. It's quite complicated. I'm not gonna even pretend to completely understand everything. I mean, this is just my way of explaining it to myself and then obviously to you. And here, right, Botvinnik plays something really natural. He goes for the trade, and now just pushes this pawn that I told you about, and now comes in and defends the pawn. Goes back with the queen. Right, we have a trade in the center, and what is Black exactly doing after all of these moves? So his plan was to say that his bishop was stronger than White's, but White did a really nice job in trading that bishop. And he was gonna argue that he has enough of a presence here on the queen side, but now he doesn't really have a lot of presence there. So he's gotta find a way to maybe make this useful, this bishop useful, and also this knight. So knight c7, right? But now Botvinnik is just in time. d5, and your knight, well, your knight is not going anywhere. Okay, you might reroute your knight like this, but that's losing a little bit of time. So Smyslov tries to attack the pawn, but now rook to f1, and this kind of indirectly defends the pawn. If you ever try to take the pawn, it's just b6 check, right? It's called the tactical defense. If a pawn is or a piece is not defended right away, but it's defended through a tactic, it's called a tactical defense. So that's why Smyslov plays queen d7, but now this move rook f1 enables, not the move rook f1 enables queen d4, but rook f1 is just gonna be a nice way to, at some point, trade off the rooks, and White doesn't need to do that. Of course, White would like it if, he would get the f-file and let's say force Black to give both rooks up here with somewhat of not losing any tempo, right, with winning time, because now just a5 and the pawns are going, the knight is pinned, and even if you try to move like, well, if you try to move like knight to c5, I'm just going to give you a check and then I'm going to pick up the knight, so you're really tied down here. And Smyslov tries to defend this knight, right, to now move the queen, but okay, here comes another attacker, and here moves the queen, and now if you take this knight, well, I take your knight here. This is still winning for White, by the way, but you have to find like an only move, which is never quite fun. You have to find this queen f4 move, again tactically defending this knight, and also preparing to move in with the queen regardless, so you have to defend against that. Okay, coming back to our variation after queen to g7, Botvinnik just played the rook to d1 and knight to c7, but now queen f4 again, kind of keeping the same ideas, right? Many positions have similar ideas. If you go rook f8, you're gonna drop this pawn, and that's why Smyslov tries rook e5 to now maybe prepare something, to maybe cook a move or two. But the thing is, you're not fast enough, and now Botvinnik hits him with a really nice move, knight to c6, and You know, if you look at this position for the first time, you say, "Hey, wait. Botvinnik just hung his knight, and Smyslov did actually take the knight. So let's see what he had in mind. Well, if you upon a closer inspection, you realize that this is check. And then if you're playing rapid with black, say, no, I haven't blundered here. I have bishop d5. And then you say, no, you don't have bishop d5. Because at this point, rook takes. If you try rook takes, this is losing. I mean, this is losing. Rook is attacked, pawn is defended. This is losing for black. And so that's why Smyslov tried d5, giving up the bishop and trying to defend this pawn. But now simply queen b6. You put pressure on the knight. And now you make a way to reroute. Just play rook e1, right? You just trade. Now just play b5, and that's it. It's so simple. It's so simple for white. Smyslov tries to attack the queen, but the queen finds a really nice square. Now you're even threatening check and picking up this pawn. So d4, but now just knight e4, and you cannot pick up the knight. Obviously, you get checked and you lose the rook. And if you move the queen now, for example, just you trade b6. So it proved the fact that white's pawns were indeed way stronger than black intended them to be. And then Botvinnik won the next game. So Botvinnik won the first 3 games and got a 3-game lead. And from that point forward, it all went downhill for Smyslov, as he never really came back. And to his credit, I'm gonna show you a really nice game that he played. This is game number 11. Botvinnik is obviously still in the lead, and whenever Smyslov won a game, Botvinnik won the next game right after, and he never let it go again for the rest of the game, the rest of the match. And we have a Grunfeld defense, the Russian variation. Botvinnik has the black pieces, Smyslov has the white pieces. And we have this variation here. In this position, right, this is quite the known position. 95 has been played like 200 times, which is a lot for like movie level on Grandmaster level. And here there's another variation where you take, but why this is not played is because bishop e2 and you don't really have anything here. You would have to play something like queen to c8 so that after f4 you can still hang in here. But then I just play h3, and this variation it's quite annoying. Okay, it's quite annoying to play as black because your knights, they don't really have any sort of real purpose here. They're just on the edge of the board, and you're gonna have to spend a lot of moves trying to find a reroute for them, and that's gonna be the problem in this game. Because even though you're playing 95 and here you manage to trade like this, okay, now one knight is solved, okay, and you get the bishop. You still have the bishop pair, but this bishop is still not quite what you wanted the bishop to be. a4, a5, right, not allowing the knight to be kicked back, but Botvinnik realizes there's nothing else to do with the knight anyway, so you're gonna have to come back with the knight. And now Smyslov just opts for this trade, and you can already feel that after knight e4, you can already feel how some attacks may go, and that's exactly what happens. We have rook to g1, now queen to h3. Okay, Botvinnik would like to pick up this pawn, and then maybe somehow consolidate. But queen e3, and Smyslov is saying, okay, you can pick up this pawn, but then I'm gonna push e5. You cannot play this move because the pawn is pinned right to the king. But you have to move back. If you go back to c8, queen h6, okay, queen h6. And after this move, you can just play whatever. Let's see. The position is so stuck for black. I cannot even find a move. I was looking in my head for candidate moves at this point, but I don't see one. Like maybe I try to run away. Okay, that's dumb. That hangs made in one. I forgot the knight was here. Let's say you try to move the knight away, right, to connect the rooks. Knight f5. Like, isn't this so? That's why I wanted to move the king, right? Because this move is so strong. Because the pawn is pinned, and here, that's why you have to be really careful. You don't want to take this pawn. So Botvinnik tried to anticipate this e5 queen h6 idea with c5, but now d takes on c6. And now it's not queen h6 that's the killer move, it's actually queen g5. And there's no way to save this bishop. Botvinnik tries c5, but after knight to c6 he just resigns as he's losing this with check and he's losing the bishop. First of all, he's losing the bishop. So here you would have to give up your knight, let's say, and then trade, but this is obviously lost. And I just want to show you a really nice story now from game number 15. Botvinnik won game number 14, and this is game number 15. And Botvinnik plays this quite nice Karo Khan variation, where he basically forces Smyslov's knights into this stupid setup right here. Like they're on the edge, and as you can see, Botvinnik temporarily sacrifices the pawn for a little bit of development, gets his knight in, and now just enjoys a much more pleasant position. Just tucks his bishop back, and bishop e7, puts pressure on the knight. Okay, now finally Smyslov, he has to come back. He has to make not a comeback, but he has to fight back on the queen side. He cannot just allow himself to be bullied. But it's still complicated because look at this. If you try to go maybe knight c5, you would like to do that. The bishop just moves, and then okay, you might say, oh, I just get a trade. Yeah, but knight f5, and then okay, this is pinned now to the rook. If you try to move the rook, now rook e8, and then you're forced to move the queen. If you move the queen here, for example, now d4, then you're forced to move the knight, and now knight e3 comes, and that's 4. And you see, it can quickly go really bad for white. That's why Smyslov tries rook d1, but now b6, not allowing any knight c5 anymore. So now just bishop e6, and you're defending this pawn. Not like this knight was ever gonna capture it, because there would have been enough pressure anyway. But it's always nice to have things defended. Queen f6, and now again black just has to put a little bit of pressure, and he can do that slowly. Rook to d8, and now knight to f5. And again, d4, knight e3, still really strong setup, because d4 does not only prepare knight e3, d4 also doesn't allow this knight any squares to get back in. And if you look at this knight right here, he would like to get back in the game also via c3, but also via b2, and this is a square where both the knights want to go, and it's quite hard. So Smyslov tries to force this knight here to the center, but now that knight is a little bit weak, and Botvinnik plays quite nicely here on the queen side, breaks this pawn apart, and now gets an infiltration square for his queen. And now it's beginning to just fall apart. The rook has to move, well, because if the rook doesn't move, then again there are all sorts of problems here. You can get into some really deep waters. And that's why rook e2 is played, to not allow, again, this knight to e3 idea. And bishop d5, right, just piling up the pressure. Knight to g3, and okay, you trade knights, but you still have a huge problem, right? You move the rook, you don't want to trade the rooks. If you trade the rooks here, again, it's quite bad, because, okay, the rook is not going to come to e3, but the rook is controlling the whole file. And you cannot go rook e1 because the queen covers that square. And that's a key information. Because now, in this variation, okay, you attack the pawn, but now you're forced to defend this pawn. This pawn was just up for grabs, but Botvinnik had something better to do. Now he plays rook e1. And he just comes in with the bishop defended by the rook. And right at the end of the day, bishop goes back so that it's untouchable, and this is a permanent threat. So Smyslov has to force a queen trade, but he loses the pawn in the process. And then at the end of the day, he gets the queen trade. He even gets the pawn back. He even gets some consolidation, but it's not enough. And Botvinnik is gonna prove that soon enough. Well, he repeats moves a little bit because of time trouble. He was in relative time trouble, and then they trade. And the way to win this is very simple. And he begins quite right. With bishop e7, king g1. And now the game is over. But why? Well, Botvinnik just had to play 2 moves in 3 minutes. 2 moves in 3 minutes in this position. You might look at that and say, this is just the perfect position for bullet. I mean, it's so easy. You just bring in the king, right? The opponent brings in the king, you bring in the king. Like, hey, I mean, let's say your opponents get attacked, you come back, and now I'm just playing some natural moves. But now g5, and that's already like 5 moves. But Botvinnik, he tried to figure out the right way, and he got so caught up in the position that, you know, he was just announced after 2 minutes by none other than Gideon Stalberg, the arbiter for that game, that, well, he just got flagged. And Smyslov walked away with the win. It's crazy in this position. And you might look at this position and say, oh, well, but it's equal material, and, you know, okay, black has the bishop pair, but why is black, you know, so much better? Well, let's look at this variation, which is, well, has a really high possibility of happening. What are you going to do here? Well, are you going to come back knight c3, okay, bishop c5 check, and your knight is not coming back in the game like this. Okay, maybe it's going to go back, but then you have problems with the bishop. Okay, let's say king f1, king e5 nonetheless. You try to attack my pawns, I don't care, h4. Bishop c4, you try to be annoying, g4. Okay, I can even trade. And now, what are you going to do, bishop b5? I don't care, bishop b7. And, right? It's just, it's easy. The king is really controlled. This is a huge threat. And yeah, the position is just lost. And now I have a really special game for you. This is gonna be a blunderfest. So let's just start. It's a nice and easy English opening. You know, as I like to call them, chill openings, where you just play theory that you memorized, and okay, you get a nice center. The position is equal because both sides have something. Right, you trade, you give up the pawn for some material. e5, quite a nice move. Now, but it's chill, because if your opponent does this, it's just checkmate immediately, or severe material loss. And okay, your opponent goes back with the knight. You attack his queen, and again, it's supposed to be chill, right? Just bring in the rook, and you're threatening this. And now here, Smyslov played rook c to d8, and the position is completely winning for white. Completely winning. Completely winning. I mean, forced win on the spot. Can you spot the move? You can obviously pause the video or try to find it in 3 seconds. The move is not that easy to find though. So 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you found it. The right move is knight to d4. What? Knight to d4? But how? Can I just take the knight? Well, yes, but first of all, let's see what the knight does. The knight attacks the queen, so that makes it, like a must take piece. Because if you like just move the queen, knight e6, and this is a mate threat, and it's also a fork, but this is a mate threat that you cannot stop. You would have to give up your queen. So I mean, you can try different lines in the comments, and it's showing you this a little bit on a shorter number of moves from the variation. Come on, English brain, please work. If you take the knight with the c pawn, it's amazing. We have bishop d5 check, and you sacrifice the bishop, but now rook e8, and there's no way to stop checkmate. If you try to go back, okay, now queen f8 is okay, and if you try to take with the knight, let's say, now this doesn't work. Be careful, because this is not possible anymore. Look at the bishop. The bishop guards that square, so now you can actually take. Okay, so what is the winning move here? Well, it's a simple rook e7, and now you simply cannot defend checkmate here. If you try to play something like rook f7, now bishop d5, because if you take the bishop, now this is checkmate. Now this is checkmate. So really, really insane move here, knight d4. But obviously, if you didn't see all of these complications, then, well, there's no point in playing the move. So Botvinnik doesn't play that move. He plays bishop h3, which threatens to come in here. but that allows Smyslov to create, well, some sort of a blockade. And here I don't really understand why Botvinnik did not just play check and then f3. That seems easy, right? That seems kind of like in the tone of the chilled English opening. Because, okay, now it's important to see that black has this line of attack. So Botvinnik plays f4. But f4 seems a little bit too aggressive when you leave this diagonal so open, right? You leave everything so open here. I don't know why I chose 3 colors there. And now you play queen g5, but this is losing on the spot. Smyslov, wait, and Smyslov, if he would have won this game, he would have been in one game reach, right, by the end of the match. At this point, he's still down some games, right? It's still not a really big threat. But by the end of the match, he would have maybe been able to snatch a draw, because he only needs to draw the whole match to retain the title. But here, he didn't play rook d2. That's the winning move. I didn't make it a puzzle. I'm sorry. But it's a move that just strikes you. It's like it's just check and mate, and it's unstoppable. Bishop e6 check and just rook f7. This is not a check. And oops. And if you try this, well, now you don't have a move. It's just that simple. You take the pawn, now it's just checkmate, right? If you go king h1, it's check check. If you go king f1, it's just check. I don't know what he didn't find here, why he didn't find that, or what he saw. Maybe he saw something else, but he played rook d8. And now, well, the position is still better for black, but Botvinnik manages to get an endgame that he might be able to draw. And, you know, as Kasparov said, a rook that's active is worth a pawn, so technically the position should be equal by his standards. Not really, I'm paraphrasing a little bit. Also, we cannot apply this to every single position. But still, the point still stands. I mean, Smyslov's king is, if you know, Botvinnik is able to keep the king out here, and now Smyslov, I think, got fed up and he said, okay, I'm going to sacrifice this pawn, I'm going to push this one. I'm going to get a win here. b5, b4, b4, but now you give up this, and now I think, okay, Smyslov said, okay, this is probably going to be a draw. I take this pawn, he gives me a check, but now, okay, you come in here, okay, you get a check, you get like a little bit of a saving grace. You can play b3 here and still losing. Well, Smyslov, I'm just gonna show the variation from the game. Smyslov here plays b3, but it's still losing because after b2, it's so. This is just bishop takes on e8. I have had something similar in one of my games. That's why I have some flashbacks. And now it just takes. And Botvinnik just has the 3-0. Come on, that's winning. But if we come back real quick to this position, right here, had Smyslov played king 7, this would have probably been a draw. If this check is impossible. But this check is possible, and this would have probably been a draw. So Smyslov, I think, he did not want to just make a draw, right? And now he just lost. And here, by the way, rook takes on h2 is the engine's best try to draw this, because now the engine is arguing, okay, you're down a bishop, but if your opponent is stupid enough to play, well, that's saying the bishop. Come on, king d6, not king d4, king d6. But if your opponent is stupid enough to play some weird moves, then you might be able to, I don't know, draw this. Like if your opponent takes you rook g3, and now all of a sudden there's not really winning potential anymore, because these pawns are going to get cancelled out, and then it's a bishop and a rook against a rook. But of course, Smyslov, being a human, he tried to go for the rook endgame, but at the end of the day, this is just winning for white. That's the position that they arrived at in the game. It's not really important. Once you have a 3-0, it's important to learn how to convert that, but once you have a 3-0, it's probably GG's if you don't make any blunders. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Botvinnik ended up winning the match, obviously, and he's gonna be the new world champion, and they're gonna begin a new cycle, and the new challenger will arise. But you will see all of that next week. So hopefully you enjoyed it. If you made it this far in the video, drop a like and comment. I don't know, blunder. That would be a nice one. I'll see you all in the next one. Kowalsky.